Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is day 17 of Crimemas, and today we will be diving into the bizarre case of Henry Chau, the man who microwaved his parents. Henry Chau was a 28-year-old man from Hong Kong. He was the youngest son of Glory and Moon and had an older brother. Growing up, Henry Chau was a troubled child. He did not perform well academically and would often get into fights with his peers. He did not have many friends and was often alone. During his teens, he failed to acquire his Hong Kong Certificate of Education, which is the equivalent of a high school diploma. But once he did, his parents sent him to Australia to study actuarial science. However, life wasn't great for him there either. He would often get bullied and even got beaten up on one occasion. In 2003, he secretly dropped out of university and went back to his parents in Hong Kong, with them under the impression that he obtained his degree. Now, they eventually found out that he dropped out and even paid him to give college another shot, this time in Hong Kong. However, Henry was just not fit for this. He did not excel academically and did not have any solid plans for his future. All he wanted to do was play online games where he felt respected. And this, of course, frustrated his parents. Henry Chau also had an obsession with women and had multiple girlfriends, none of which resulting to a long-term relationship. At some point, he actually got one of these girls pregnant and asked her to terminate the pregnancy. However, this girlfriend decided to keep the baby, and upon learning that they had a baby girl, Henry cut off all ties with her. In 2012, Henry found himself in a lot of debt due to a lot of failed investments. And even though they were growing sick and tired of their son's antics, Glory and Moon still helped him financially. Glory Chau and Moon Sui were already 65 and 63 respectively. They were retired and were living a comfortable life due to the fact that they had worked hard their entire lives. And as retirees, they should be enjoying their lives, but instead they were still stressed out about their younger son. They would often nag him about getting an education or to at least try and keep a job, because Henry, at 28, never seemed to have been able to keep an employment even for a few months. He would often get fired for underperforming at his job or would erratically quit after being reprimanded once. Now, the feelings were mutual. Henry, too, was getting sick and tired of his parents. In his mind, they were a hindrance to his happiness and wanted them gone. And that is exactly what happened. Glory and Moon vanished, seemingly into thin air. On March 7th, 2013, Henry and his older brother reported them missing to the authorities. Henry told the police that he overheard his parents talking about going on a trip to mainland China. However, upon checking, the authorities discovered that there were no records of Glory and Moon ever departing Hong Kong. Now, the Chau brothers then launched a social media campaign to ask people for help in locating their parents, but to no avail. On March 14th, the brothers were called in for another questioning, and during this interview, Henry had access to his cell phone. He then sent his Tekken WhatsApp group a message telling them that he had murdered his parents. Now, this text message contained all of the gruesome details. He even told them that he wanted to properly say goodbye to them before everything goes downhill from him. That same night, he also met up with a friend and told him everything, saying that he has decided to turn himself in the next day. However, unbeknownst to Henry, someone from his WhatsApp group had actually reported him to the authorities already. At around 7 a.m. on March 15th, 2013, Henry Chau was arrested in their family home under the suspicion of murdering both of his parents. He then gave law enforcement the address of his close friend Angus Chau, where his parents' remains were. At 10:30 a.m. that same day, 35-year-old Angus Chau was also arrested for being an accomplice to murder. Henry had met Angus at work in 2007. He was said to be a simple-minded but very kind-hearted guy. He struggled intellectually and was severely bullied growing up. He was that type of guy that was very easily manipulated and influenced, especially when he wanted to make friends. Now, based on Henry's timeline of events, on March 1st, 2013, he invited his parents to Angus's flat, telling them that he had decided to move in with him. His parents then agreed to help him set up his room, but as soon as they entered the living room, Angus then lunges at Moon from behind, covering her mouth to prevent her from screaming, and then slashed her throat, killing her instantly. At the same time, Henry attacks his father, stabbing him at the back of the neck. However, this blow did not kill Glory right away, so Angus finishes him off by slashing his throat as well. During the attack, Angus had actually accidentally stabbed Henry on the leg, resulting to him needing some medical attention. And according to Henry, he left for a few hours to get some stitches in the hospital. And once he returned to the flat, Angus had already dismembered his parents' remains, preserving them in salt and then placing them in different airtight containers. They then cooked up the remains in the microwave, placed them on top of rice in a styrofoam lunchbox, and then doused them in barbecue sauce. Their bones were then covered in sand and cement before being thrown into the ocean. Now, this was all according to Henry Chau. His friend Angus had something else to say. According to Angus, the matter of disposal was true, but he wasn't present during the murders. Henry had borrowed his flat on March 1st to proceed with his crimes, and once Angus came back to his flat on the 4th, Glory and Moon had already been murdered and dismembered. But Angus did admit to helping Henry with cooking the remains in hopes of concealing them. Now, upon searching the flat, the police found all of the evidence, and it was disgusting. After this, a lot of the law enforcement officers were not able to eat meat for months. They found garbage bags filled with sand and cement, a chopping board laying on top of a bloodied carpet, a saw, 7 knives with blood residue on them, and 3 garbage bags filled with dismembered human limbs. They also found 600 styrofoam lunch boxes containing the barbecued remains of Glory and Moon. Now, in the apartment, there were also 2 refrigerators, one of which contained Glory's severed head, while the second one contained Moon's. Yellow grease that turned out to be human fat was also seen in the microwave. Now, a notebook under Angus's mattress containing detailed notes regarding how to dismember bodies was also discovered. In these notebooks, there were also shopping lists proving that this was a premeditated attack and that the supplies were bought one by one since January. They had been preparing for this for over 2 months. And upon testing, it was confirmed that these notes were in Henry Chau's handwriting, and they were just concealed under Angus's mattress in an attempt to frame him. It was also revealed that Henry had Angus agree to get involved in all of this by threatening him that he would kill Angus's mom if he did not abide by Henry's orders. And as I've mentioned, Angus was a very simple-minded man. He was intellectually challenged. Now, an IQ test was given to the both of them, and this showed that Angus had a much lower IQ compared to Henry. suggesting that he would be easily manipulated into doing things that were against his will. On August 2014, Henry Chau pleaded not guilty, even blaming his parents for what he had done, saying that they were too nagging and would often get in the way of his happiness, insinuating that they deserved what happened. He said, I thought that it could resolve the emotional connection with my parents. I thought that if they died, I would be reborn. He also stated that he felt a sense of relief upon seeing his parents' empty bed the morning after the crime. And after this, he no longer felt the need to kill his older brother as well as he initially planned. Now, according to Henry, if they had gotten away with this, him and Angus would have actually gone to the mainland and embarked on a crime spree of sexual abuse and murders. On March 20th, 2015, 2 years after committing his crime, Henry Chau was found guilty of the double murder of his father Glory Chau and his mother Moon Siu. He was given the sentence of life in prison. Angus Che, on the other hand, was not found guilty of murder, but was sentenced to 1 year for preventing the lawful burial of bodies. Now, this was a crazy one. I honestly have no words for this case. And as usual, I would really love to hear your thoughts about this. Do you think Angus deserved to get more prison time for his involvement in this case? Personally, I think even if Henry lives the remainder of his life in prison, that will never be enough punishment for brutally killing his parents who wanted nothing more but for him to be successful in life. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow.